Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka BillyIndiana. Today I'm going to give a quick recap of the games that I played in January 2025. So if you're curious to see what hit the table at our household, stay tuned. So here you can see in January I was able to get 24 gameplays of 10 different games. And I'm just going to quickly touch on each one. I might go to the website page for each one, the BGG page for each one quickly. But starting at the least played, Tapestry. And Tapestry is a Stonemaier game that I really enjoy and hadn't played in quite a while. And this time, this play was on BGA. I really like the polyomino aspect of this part of the game, but just moving up the tracks and kind of coming up with the strategies that work. I'm honestly not a very good player for Tapestry. It's not one that I'm really often win, but I really enjoy it every time I play. I know a lot of people say it's a Civ game that's not a Civ game, but yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's a game that I enjoy. So that's Tapestry, one play on BGA. Stock Exchange was the second time I've played it, but I haven't rated it because I've only played it on BGA. And while I don't think the actual physical game would probably add a lot, I think maybe just playing at a table with someone live versus an asynchronous version of it might be a little bit better. The art is beautiful. Even on BGA, the implementation is smooth. You're basically trying to play a stock market game by manipulating which plants are up here and in this collection here. You take them from this collection up here and plant them here, or you trade them into your collection, and what you have in your collection dictates how many points you're going to earn at the end, and however many get planted and then taken from this garden depict how much their value is at the end of the game. So you're trying to manipulate all of those things. And I'm not a huge stock market game player, so that may be part of it. And then part of it, I think, is just only playing it on BGA. So I wasn't really willing to rank that one or rate it yet, but it was a fine game. I enjoy it okay. Don't know that I would ever want to go out and buy it, but I would like to play the physical version sometime. Carcassonne Hunters and Gatherers. My brother and his wife own this game, and so I played it live years ago and didn't really find it that much different than the regular Carcassonne, although they're quite a bit more. In fact, I think maybe if anything, it seemed like to add a little more complexity, but not a lot more fun in the gameplay for me. So I think I enjoyed regular Carcassonne with some of the expansions a bit more than I enjoyed the Hunters and Gatherers version. But this time was just playing it on BGA, and I would always be happy to play it. It's a fine game, just not something that I would, go after. There's so many other tile laying games that I prefer. Here's a nice close-up picture of some of the pieces. They do have pretty cool pieces, and like I said, there is more to think about than in the regular Carcassonne game. Maybe not so much if you start throwing in some of those expansions. So anyway, that was a fine game, and have enjoyed playing it live with the physical version years ago, and then just on BGA recently. Played another game of Captain Flip on BGA. Haven't ranked this one because I haven't played this one ever live. Only played it on BGA. But you're basically flipping tiles and trying to create patterns. See if we can get some picture with some tiles actually on the boards. It looks like this one might. There we go. You're trying to get these in certain patterns, somewhat to have vertical patterns, some want to have horizontal patterns, some want to be only the only one in their row, some want to be the only one in their column, some are just worth points, but you can't have a certain number of them, and some are only worth points if they're at the top. They just all have these different scoring mechanisms, and so you're trying to choose if you want to take the tile that shows up the way it is and put it into your tableau, or whether you want to flip it, and if you flip it, you have to take what's on the other side. A very simple game to play, and it's fun. I enjoy it. I think it might be more fun to play the physical version, but I haven't, so haven't rated it yet. But yeah, Captain Flip, played it a couple of times now on BGA, one time in January. Now, all the rest of these, oh no, most of the rest of these I played physical version, so I finally got my Through the Desert unwrapped. It came in the spring or the summer or the fall when we were moving. Finally got it unboxed. I do have an unboxing video of that if you want to check it out. And finally had played it. I never played the original version, but my wife and I got this to the table a couple of times. It is a very nice production in terms of the way it looks. There are some things about the production I wasn't super happy with, though. It doesn't all fit back in the box very nicely when you're done. And the board that's the dark side, it's, for me, I was noticing this putting a puzzle together with my wife last night too. I don't have any color blindness, but sometimes the dark colors I just can't see. She was able to tell blue and black and dark green on these puzzle pieces, and it just looked all black to me. So I didn't like the dark color. These are some of the older versions, but I didn't like the dark colored board with the new version, but I did like the gameplay. So with the gameplay, you're trying to track out these, create these caravans of camels, and you're trying to cut off certain regions so that you can score the empty hexes that are in that region. You're also trying to get close to the trees, and you're also trying to get the longest one for each color. So lots of things to think about, and really did enjoy the gameplay. But while this is a brand new production and the quality of the pieces was great, there were just a few little misses that I felt like All Play and Cosmos made, just not being able to get everything easily back in the box when you get it all taken apart. And then that dark board being a little bit too dark. Some of just the color choices I thought could have been a little bit better, a little bit clearer. But the gameplay is amazing. All right, and then Stamp Swap. Got a couple more plays of Stamp Swap in. I've been trying to get several plays of that so that I can put a review together, and still need to play it solo, and I'd like to play it with more players, but just having a hard time finding others other than my wife and I to play games with recently. But it's just a kind of a, not polyomino exactly, because they're all just squares and rectangles, but you're putting these stamps out here and you're trying to create patterns, so it's more pattern building, and every round you're going to choose one of these 4 goals that you can see here, color and theme and canceled stamps and so on and so forth. And then there's also a goal for the end of the game, and the stamps are sometimes worth positive points, negative points, some that are gold, like this one here that's at the player board here that's got this kind of gold background. Those are worth a lot of points. This one that this person's holding, those are worth a lot of points. And so you're trying to put them together here. You're trying to accomplish those goals. You're adding exhibitors and specialists to the game as you go, so that you can basically kind of build a little bit of a point obtaining engine. Each round you use your ticket to just claim one of these categories. And so that's kind of an interesting part of the game. And I am going to be putting a review out pretty soon. I just want to play the solo version a couple of times first. And then if I'm able next weekend, we have a long weekend, we're talking about maybe getting together with our kids and grandkids. So maybe get a 3 or 4 player game in with some of the adults. We'll see. And then definitely want to film the review for that. And Stamp Swap, one of the later games or more recent games by Stonemaier, and Paul Solomon is the designer. He's the Honey Buzz designer. And so I've enjoyed it. I'll give you more thoughts when I put together my review video. Rebirth, another one that I just recently unboxed and finally got to the table, another Knizia game, another kind of pattern building game, but this one by Mighty Boards. And this one in the, I don't know if all versions do or just the Kickstarter Deluxe version that I have, but it's got 2 sides, the Scotland side and the Ireland side. Here you're seeing the Ireland side. And you've got these castles, and I forget all the terminology now. It's been a few weeks since you played. But there's the castles, and then I forget what these short ones are called. But anyway, you're trying to build around them and near them, and you're also trying to build houses in these sections that have these lines surrounding, like this one. You've got these houses here, and you're trying to dominate how many houses you have. This castle's in the wrong place. It should not be in that. That should be a house. So there's a mistake on that picture there. So there's another close-up of that same picture. So that's not actually how you're supposed to play the game. But yeah, this one is, I really enjoyed the game. My wife and I did too. The pattern building and trying to achieve the goals. I think we both liked the Ireland version a little bit better. Not sure if we're going to see any pictures of the Ireland version here. Yeah, there we go. There's the Ireland version. In the Ireland version, the board isn't significantly different. There's a few differences, but the main thing is that your goals that you're striving for are all face up, and you see them and you're trying to kind of race to them to get more points versus less points. And then there's these other tiles that you see here, these kind of diamond shaped tiles with yellow, that are advantages you can achieve when you either surround them or reach them or connect to, or there's a variety of ways you have to achieve them, but those are kind of fun objectives as well. And so yeah, Rebirth, we had a lot of fun playing. It's definitely was in the running for one of my favorite new games of the year from 2024, which was when it was released, although late in the year, and I didn't get to play it until January 2025, and definitely one of my favorites of the month as well. Next up, Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, another late 2024 release that I just got to play this year. Played it 3 times with my wife, and it's a 2-player game, so that fits us well, because especially since we moved to Washington, we're primarily just playing games at 2 players the vast majority of the time. And this is like the original Seven Wonders Duel, but with a few tweaks in the Lord of the Rings theme, and we both like the Lord of the Rings theme a lot better. And it's interesting, we've won one time, I forget who it was. I think I won once on this track. I was the Sauron's warriors, or Nazgul, and I tracked down the hobbits. And then one time I won with these green tiles, getting 6 majority of the different factions getting their allegiance. And then my wife won once. It was very close every time. Came down right to the end. And I believe she won with the 6 factions again. And there were multiple times where I thought for sure she was going to win on this board up here. And then, yeah, just the way these cards flipped over and the choices that I had, I was able to just keep her one away and just barely stave off. So it felt like every game we played, I thought for sure she was going to win. And somehow 2 times I was able to scrape out a win. When we played the original Lord of the Seven Wonders Duel, my wife just would dominate me all the time. I could never beat her, but this time, actually, a couple times I pulled out some by the skin of my teeth wins, and definitely a really good one by Antoine Bauza and Bruno Cathala. Nice production and excellent gameplay. And then Bonsai, I do have this one physically and have played the physical version a lot of times. Really enjoy this game. Played it, though, this month just solo on BGA. It's just one of those calm games when I need a little mental break. You're building out these patterns and you're trying to accomplish goals that are set out before you. So sometimes like this one, you get 10 points if you get something growing out past the ends on both sides of your pot. This one, you're trying to get 7 leaves in a row. Over here, you're trying to get 1 just past the end for 6 points. And if you get 1 past each end, it's 10 points. So you have all these objectives you're trying to achieve. You're drafting these cards, and you also, when you draft the card, you get what's below it for the tiles, and then you're developing this tableau of cards down here that the symbols at the top tell you what you can grow or cultivate onto your plant. And then when you get these watering pots, and it lets you hold more tiles so that when you do the cultivate action, you can take those. When you take these workers, then you actually get to draw tiles and place tiles. When you choose the leaders or monks, then you get to draw some additional tiles, and then there's several on here that give you point values at the end of the game, and then here these plant ones are what dictate what you can cultivate. Just a really pleasing, calming pattern building game. It's got an excellent implementation for solo or multiplayer on BGA, and I love the physical version and love the BGA version both. Really an excellent game. And then Sky Team. Played this one a bunch over January, and always with Ian from Where There's a Wilz, There's a Play. He's got a nice YouTube channel. You should check it out. I'll try to remember to put a link down below in the description. But this is a 2-player game where you're trying to land the plane, and we've had a pretty good success rate. I think we failed twice, but won 5 times. And you're trying to keep the plane level when you're ready to land. You're trying to get the brakes engaged and the flaps down. All these different things that you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to clear the approach of any planes that might be in the same approach. You got a chance to earn coffee down here with these tiles. I think many people probably that would be watching this video have played this game. I imagine it's a very popular game, but we've enjoyed it. We just played it on BGA. I think he lives in the Midwest and I live in Washington, so we can't play physically together, but we've enjoyed just chatting in the BGA chat box, and between rounds planning what we need to do the next round, and then no communication during the round. And it's been a lot of fun. We've had a great time playing that. I don't own the game physically, but I have played it physically, borrowed it from a friend, and my wife and I played it a couple times. She liked it okay, but she likes some other cooperative games better. So I didn't end up buying that one, but have enjoyed playing with Ian online. So those are the 24 gameplays of the 10 different games. If I were to pick my favorite new-to-me game, it really comes down to Rebirth and Lord of the Rings Duel. I had, let's see, Stamp Swap. Well, no, I played Stamp Swap last month, too. Through the Desert was new to me. Yeah, I guess Through the Desert, Rebirth, and Lord of the Rings were the only ones that were new to me this month. And yeah, Rebirth and Lord of the Rings I enjoyed better than Through the Desert. I would give it an edge slightly to Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth as my favorite new game. with just 2 plays apiece, but that's where I would stand right now, ranking those 3. And then for best and back to the table, Tapestry I really enjoyed again, although I do prefer playing it physically, and this was a BGA play. Bonsai, I think I enjoy equally either way. So I'll give the lean to Bonsai for best game that I got back to the table again. So hopefully you enjoyed hearing about the games that I played, a quick recap, some of my thoughts on those games. Down in the comments, I'd love to hear what games did you play in January, and did you play any of these games? If you have played some of the ones I did, what do you think about them? Which ones are your favorite? What do you like or not like about some of these games? So I'd love to read about that in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.